All right, let's get personal. So, social anxiety, let's talk about it. I feel like any human being in existence has dealt with social anxiety at some point in their life. And it's really difficult to overcome for a lot of people, especially if you don't understand how your mind affects your body and how your body affects your mind as well. It's easy to fall in those ups and down roundabouts and loops and get stuck in ruts like I myself have. I feel like recently I've come out of one, but I feel like I can say that at any point in my life, really, because for me personally, my social anxiety is slightly different than it is for most, but it still exists. And if I don't take proper care and action for self-improvement and also just to meditate and work out and eat healthy and do all these things to take care of my mind and my soul, I do find that social anxiety for me does return. And unfortunately, I've dealt with it like even recently as well. And you know, I feel like I used to have a misrepresentation of who I was in the past. All right, now let me explain what I mean by that. So, I always thought I was this extremely social, outgoing individual, and I still think I am, but in a very different way. That's because since I was a kid, I was always in extremely social environments, and until I grew confident in myself and just confident around the people I was in my own skin and everything, I did have anxiety and I was kind of shy and like quiet, but over time, I kind of continued pushing myself and throwing myself into all these social situations. For instance, most of my jobs in the past have always been social jobs. I haven't had like an exact career, let's put it that way. I've mostly served and been in the food industry in terms of actual work. And since that's very social, you kind of like gain this demeanor where you're able to pretty much put on any like, I guess, face that you want, especially when it comes to the world of serving, you know? And I feel like that kind of defined me as a person at one point, like go out partying all the time. And I still love to party, don't get me wrong, but one misstep in the wrong direction can kind of like throw everything out of whack. Like, okay, let's say you have a consistent sleep schedule, but like one day of the week, you're like, all right, let's go party. You know, it's just my friend's birthday, or we're just doing a party for no fucking reason, like whatsoever. Let's go ahead and do it, right? Well, if you stay up to like 4 or 5 a.m. partying, and then if you're not careful and then you end up doing it again like a week or two like later, and kind of throw everything out of whack, and you'll like wake up early and whatnot. I don't know, at least that's my experience with it personally. Like one small thing can set off a domino effect and like ruin everything else like you have going on if you're not careful. But regardless of that, where was I? The reason why I attached like that identity to myself is because, like I said, I was always in the social environments, and it wasn't until I got out of those social environments for certain periods of time, especially now, because if you watch my update video, I'm officially making money on my own, which is great feeling, but there's a few negatives that came with it initially at first that I've come to appreciate, actually, and I'll get to that later in this video. But pretty much I've realized I adapt to whatever situation is given to me. If I need to be really social, I need to excel in that regard and be okay with people and be great with people, then okay, I will. And then if I'm thrown in it enough times, then I will excel in that regard, and that's me. But if I don't need that anymore, and then the social part is cut out of the equation, I have to adapt to a new situation and look at life a little bit differently. Otherwise, it'll throw me down a negative rut. And I still love social interaction and everything to do with it. But now that I'm not working a social job anymore, it kind of hits me like sometimes like, okay, so I should probably explain like what I mean when I say my anxiety is kind of like slightly like opposite of like most people's social anxiety. So when it comes to like the most, I would say, common case of social anxiety, like there's a plethora of ways you can describe it, but that feeling you get like when you're talking to somebody and then you look into their eyes and then you feel like they're judging you with every single second, and they're like seeing through your thoughts, and then playing the social game just to be nice with you, and all these crazy ideas you come up with your head in a split second interacting with anybody. Yeah, I experienced that. And back when I was smoking this nice green plant, I'm sure many of y'all are aware of, it took me a while to understand that like that actually amplified my social anxiety, where it cured it for a lot of people, which is pretty unfortunate, but it was nice in other regards. I liked it as an artistic outlook more than anything, depending on the activity I guess I would partake in while I was doing that. And yeah, so for me, like I don't care like if it's let's say some random person I meet, like on the street, right? Or a new person I'm like meeting. I don't care. I'll talk about anything. My social anxiety almost doesn't exist, and it's great. Unfortunately, my social anxiety comes out to the people I'm close with and the people that have been in my life for a lot longer. I guess I really just don't like getting like really like deep and personal like all the time, I've come to realize, and I tend to avoid certain situations where I do, and I hate explaining how I'm doing a new thing in my life, and then I start fearing that I'm going to get judged, that like I'm going a wrong direction, that all these negative things are about to come like my way, whatnot, and then it kind of causes me to hide unintentionally. And unfortunately, if like I said, I'm not keeping up with like meditation, or if I'm not working out or taking care of my body and my soul, then it comes out again. Literally just something as simple as just going on a run like cures that for me. Back to the history on my social anxiety. It wasn't really prominent like for a while, because like I said, I was in like a social environment, so I really like learned like not to really care after a while, and I still don't really care about anyone else's opinion. It's just that it all just comes up like during social interaction, like all of like the oh crap, my self-conscious outlooks and whatnot kind of just like start appearing in the midst of the social interaction. And I guess even though I can say I really don't care about other people's opinions, maybe there's like a deeper issue intact that I'm still trying to like locate, because you can tell yourself that, but in the midst of a situation, like why do you not like care? Why do you not, but like why are you suddenly like caring, when like previously like you didn't? I don't know, it's like weird. Like I guess like when you're left alone like with your thoughts for like a while and there's like nothing else to distract you or anything like that, you have way too much time to think. And that's why I guess like I've been happiest like when I've been like most busy, and when I've had social interaction after a rewarding like day of, I guess, like not necessarily like work in the typical sense for money, but I guess anything. Like if I just like spent all day working on like a project for anything, then I'll be super satisfied. If I can meet up with a buddy or like some people afterwards and kind of like just like celebrate happily in like my head, then it's great. And that's been like an issue where like recently it's brought out a lot more. Like now I have like all this free time, I'm choosing like what I want to do with it and what I don't want to do with it. And if I'm not like actively keeping busy, it gives my mind like too much time to think. And then again though, I also fell off with like meditation for like a little bit. I'm back on it again and it's been great. But like when you fall off from meditation, like you learn a lot less about controlling your mind. And well, now you learn a lot less, but you lose that control, that active control you've been like building with, because ultimately like that's what meditation can help with. It can help with pretty much like stopping a thought just like that, or not paying attention to these thoughts, or just like letting them be and realizing certain things about yourself and how the body works. A lot of details you can read up about that. There's been times where I've gotten depressed like in the past as well, and I guess that depression has stems like from just, I don't know, I have this overarching anxiety that I'm just not doing what I should be doing with my life sometimes. I'm sure a lot of other people have like felt that as well. Maybe we're just all being too hard on ourselves because like we're just trying to speed up the process of where we want to be in life, at least in my case. Like I have super high ambitions, and that like if I don't reach them as quickly as possible, then I feel like I'm kind of like wasting I guess my life, which is an unhealthy mentality, but it's also like a really nice drive too, because when you are getting things done, then it's great. But staying a productive machine 24/7 isn't the most ideal thing to do, unless that is what you want to be doing, and you manage to program your brain and detox from social media and like everything that like distracts you, or you wanting to do something big before relaxing. That's great, but I just mean in the sense of like 24/7 productivity machine for like your entire life. But I don't know, maybe like some people like that, maybe like I just haven't found the right balance yet, so I don't want to like completely support that statement as of right now, but these are all just like thoughts that have been like circulating in my head. I guess like for me, social anxiety didn't really like start appearing until roughly, I guess it was always present the more I'm thinking about it, but I guess like the time I started noticing it was around like middle school time, and then that's like when I cared like a lot more. My confidence was non-existent back then. There's so many social situations where I realized people really did like me, and then like so many girls I could have gotten with like way back when I was going to school, but my confidence just didn't exist back then. And now that like it does exist, there's always like one new thing that can just like pop up and like deter like me away from it in my head. Like for instance, I can't really like relate to people like right now in terms of like working a job, and I don't know, it's like you can easily dwell on the negatives, and it's like, that's a positive, right? That's like what a lot of people want to do. They want to make money, like not having to work for like a 9-to-5 shitty gig, right? And I guess like now, like that I have that, it's kind of like, oh, there's a plethora of like negatives that have come with it in like my head. But then again, though, like when you have too much time to think, like I said, it starts causing the anxiety, and then you just dwell on the negatives, because it's so easy to dwell on the negatives, right? And if you're not like being grateful, or you don't have like a gratitude journal, and you don't like try to look at the positives, the negatives will just like spiral like right up there, you know? Yeah, so pretty much like I can list off 20 million different negatives, you know, about my life. Like everybody can, right? It's too easy to do that. But when we start listing off like the positives and like whatnot, you start like focusing on them, then, you know, you start to realize, oh crap, like, you know, there's been so much underneath like all of these negatives. Like, you know, the positive is like the light at the end of a tunnel once you start like shifting like your mentality like towards it. It's when you do fall in a trap of like thinking of it negatives, and sometimes if it leads to like depression, people will try to help you and like whatnot, but then you're kind of like, well, I really don't want to leave this state, because that's what depression does to you as well. It makes you not want to like leave the state you're in, because you see like, what's the point? And it brings that like question of like, what's the point to everything, right? I guess I don't really know what the point I was trying to make in this video was. It was just a topic that was on my mind recently. And don't worry, I'm in a great space. I just kind of want everyone to know that social anxiety is curable, and that everything you see online from like other people isn't always like the truth. Just because like people put on like a fake like face like behind the camera, you don't know anything about like that person's life, and you don't know like if really behind the camera they're abiding behind everything they are saying. Like a lot of people on this platform have admitted to just like faking happiness and like faking smiles, like personality, especially with a bunch of other like self-improvement like type of channels. You know, there's always like this like, I guess, fakeness to the lifestyle. That's probably the best way I can like describe it. But like, it's kind of equivalent to those like gurus, I would say, that try to sell you this is like day trading course and, you know, get all your money, but like really they know jack shit and they're just profiting off the course, and that's how they're making their millions. It's not that like all those channels are, I get like doing that like for money and whatnot, but I mean the fakeness like feels like really like similar to that, you know, because you can always just, you can do anything on camera. You can edit something, you can just cut things out perfectly, you know, you can cut out all contacts, as you can make your life look like this magnificent, beautiful thing that like mostly, this is what most people do on social media. If you want to look at that video I made on social media, I pretty much like made that same point entirely. It's also really toxic too, because it does cause a lot of social anxiety for a lot of people. I'm glad Facebook is the only thing I'm on. Personally, it's like, I don't really go on there like much at all, but it's great for like business, marketplace, and just like communicating with people and marketing. That stuff is great. That's why I chose to stick around on Facebook. Otherwise, though, yeah, social media can like really ruin you. But yeah, like I said, I really don't know what the point of this video really was. But if you really enjoyed my talk about social anxiety and a little bit of depression, then yeah, smash that like button, subscribe, please. I got a few cool videos coming up. In fact, I'm collaborating with somebody that sent me a free book. It's called Pop Magic. I'm going to do a video on that soon. And yeah, please stick around. If you guys have any questions at all, always leave a comment down below, or feel free to message me on Facebook too. I have it open and I'm always taking messages. I'm not flooded, so I'm trying to like respond to everybody as much as I can. But yeah, if you're interested, let me know, say something. Otherwise though, catch you in the next one.